What is good, P1 family, and welcome back to part 2 of my QB evaluations. Next up, we have none other than Anthony Richardson, quarterback, University of Florida. Anthony Richardson is a guy that possesses some of the most glaring physical traits that we've seen out of anybody in this class. He has, obviously 6'4", around 230, runs a 4.5. Was it a 4.4 or 4.5? Either way, it was very fast. Broad chump was out of this world. Vertical was out of this world. He is who we thought he was as an athlete. Now, where the potential lies is what can he be as a passer? Well, right now, I'd say that he is a year away from being able to start a full NFL game and not make you want to rip your hair out. And that's just is what it is. He hasn't played a lot of football. Only had 1 year as a starter at the University of Florida. And you can tell that there are things and there's certain kinks that he just has not been able to work out by simply not playing. And those are some of the things you're going to have to work out when he gets to the NFL. For me, first thing I saw off the rip is with the misses, with the misses and even some of the completions, the footwork is inconsistent and it sometimes gets a little. He kind of gets out of his framework sometimes when he misses. There will be times where he'll complete the pass, but there'll be times where you're leading your receiver until falling into the ground. Instead of putting that ball in the money and allowing your receiver to be able to create some run after catch and see what you can get, and missing out pretty potentially on about 5 to 7 more yards if you can just keep your receiver upright. Those things tend to happen. But there are the beautiful things that he can do as far as pushing the ball down the field where he does have touch sometimes. And you wonder, how can we get him to do that consistently? The biggest thing with Anthony Richardson coming into this draft is, can you, any NFL team that takes a chance on him, can you get him to raise his level of consistency to that point where it can start each and every week? Because if the things that he flashes, if those things happen consistently, then he's an all-pro. He's an MVP caliber quarterback. And out of all the quarterbacks in this class, he is the one guy that I look at and say, if he gets it all together, if it all clicks, he'll be an MVP caliber quarterback. He is the quote-unquote generational prospect out of this class. Not saying that he's generational, but that term gets thrown around so much that it's starting to get its own category when you start doing NFL draft evaluations. Now, where do we want to go with this next? The biggest thing that as the reason why I wouldn't want him on the Panthers, right, and why he shouldn't be the number one pick is that I need a quarterback today that can make the layup throws that pretty much raise your completion percentage. There are throws in the NFL and at all levels of football that if you complete those, you're gonna have a 60% completion percentage by the mere fact that you can complete those 90% of the time throughout the course of a game. And that's where some of the things get a little hazy. So with the fact that his footwork is not as consistent as you would like, there's a tendency to miss, and where he misses is kind of mind-boggling at times. He has throws where it'll be a skinny post, and he's missing 10 yards over near the sideline instead of missing inside. And if you're gonna throw certain routes, a post route, for example, especially there's a play against, I think it was Kentucky, where they're lining up two receivers to the boundary. They run the skinny post. You get the one-on-one with the corner, and they're in quarters coverage, so it's too high. So obviously the middle of the field is where you want to attack there. And he misses behind the receiver, behind the defensive back. He misses towards the sideline. That can't happen. And I just wonder what's going. The footwork is where I'm looking at and saying, okay, are you getting your shoulders turned? Is your feet placement where it's supposed to be? Those are the things he has issues with. There's a throw against Tennessee as well. Scrambles out to his right. There's a receiver. Receiver thinks ran a flag route, or I think the route. It may not have been a flag, but the route was broken off to the back pylon of the end zone. That's where the receiver's headed. He's open. It's there. He misses 10 yards inside. So those are the things where it's like, wow. If he can't do those things consistently, he's not ready to start. And that's why I'm saying whatever situation he goes to, he needs to be able to sit and just watch these things mature. But if I'm the Carolina Panthers, right, there's no way I can take Anthony Richardson at number 1 overall in my mind, because all right, at least if he went to Seattle. Seattle's the place where I would like for him to go. I think that's the perfect place for him. Seattle has a quarterback in place that already is an NFL professional. Led him to the playoffs last year. He's plenty good enough to do that again this year. That's the situation I want him in, where there is no pressure for him to start because our starter is in place. And on the other end of that spectrum, you talk about Seattle and their situation. Geno signed for 3 years. Geno signed for 3 years, essentially 2. Let's do some situational football here. All right, Geno signs for so the first year, if Anthony Richardson's there, he's sitting behind Geno Smith. There's no question about it. I probably opened up a package for him, the same way Baltimore did with Lamar in his first year in Baltimore. You give him a package, you really try to game plan, scheme him into the game. You know what I'm saying? And allow him to get on the field and do some things. And you try to, use his ability right now because he can still, I think, be of use to you instead of just being on the sideline, right? That happens. Now, going into year 2, again, Geno is still my quarterback. I'm still probably going to start him. He's opening day, he's probably still going to be the starter. But I'm going to do the same as I did the year before. But if I feel that, if I start to see a struggle, right? Start to see Geno struggle, or if he's injured, of course, because injuries do happen, then I would love to roll Anthony Richardson out there in year 2, or even in year 1 if he's had a chance to sit and learn something. I would love to roll him out there in year 2 and say, look, here he is, here he goes, and that's it. Geno, everybody, I think it should be obvious that Geno isn't the future of this franchise, and that what they're simply trying to do is get themselves to the next guy. But he's good enough to where he should be paid right now, and I'm glad they got that thing done. But again, for Anthony Richardson, what coaching staff is willing to take the chance of betting on the traits and then having to bet on whether he's gonna work hard enough and whether we're good enough at our jobs in order to get him to the level where he can be a professional quarterback and consistently do the things that we need him to do in order for us to win games. And that's the thing about that, though. I think that his talent level, his natural talent level is so high that, again, it puts him at the 3rd spot behind the first 2, which were Bryce and CJ. But that's been my evaluation of Anthony Richardson. Be sure to stay tuned for the next video, which will get to the guys that you all know and love. With that being said, I'm your host here, Shanti Stewart. You've been listening to the P1N Network, and I'm out.